Hey there, music makers. Zach here from the Dynamic Music Room, and today we're going to talk about teaching music lessons online and stuff like that. You see, my school tried the in-person thing, didn't work out. They were open for about 3.5 weeks. Cases skyrocketed, and they're like, nope, shut it down. So we are remote again for a long time, which brings us back to teaching online again. As many of you are finding out as we get into the winter months, cases are rising. I have a feeling that pretty much everybody's going to be going back there. So today I just wanted to talk about how I structure my lessons, and hopefully you find this helpful. Now, it's important to note that not everyone's situation is the same, and not everyone's school requirements are the same. So I'm going to talk about what my school does, and then hopefully you can see some ways to adapt it to work to your school. Now, at my school, I see K-5. I see them for 45 minutes once per week. It is the expectation that I spend 20 to 25 minutes live with the kids as much as possible. And then the rest of the time, we send them off to do kind of independent and digital work. So that's where I'm coming from. But the way I do these lessons, you could structure it differently. You could shorten things, you could lengthen things, you could do more live, you could do no live, you could just record yourself using some tools. But we're going to talk about how that works for me and how I do it. It's not probably the perfect way, or there's probably many different ways, but maybe this will give you a way to kind of, get into it, that kind of thing. So without any further ado, let's dig in. First, I start with an opening. Just like I normally would in music class, we have like an opening. And in the opening, when we're doing our live session, this is about 5 minutes. Kids are logging in. I'll have a question posted, and it's a personal question. It can be music related, but I think because we're not in person, and we're only online, it's essential that we get to know the kids and build connections with them. So that's why I like asking questions that might not be music related. It can be, but it's about personal, us getting to know each other. Things like, what's your favorite kind of food, or where's your dream vacation spot, or things like that, those kind of things. So as they come in, they can answer that to me if there's not a lot of kids, just through talking, or they can put it in the chat. That works too, or whatever platform you're using. We use Zoom, so there's that chat option is really, really convenient. Okay. Once people come in and we get started, I might do a little bit of a warm-up and for a couple minutes, and then we sing a fun song appropriate to the grade level. Just singing, just having fun. Usually I have them on mute and I do motions, and I'm really over the top with everything, so they make sure that they engage. You might not hear them singing, but you can still spot check singing later on if you want to. I do recommend keeping their mutes on because there's a delay and it sounds crazy. So we learn into our first learning time. This is the most important concept. This is where I, as the teacher, am introducing it to them and we're working together. So this is about 5 to 10 minutes. I call this learning chunk number 1. So I introduce the new concept, I connect it to the song we were just singing, and then I come up with some visuals. Maybe it's slides if we're doing rhythms and stuff like that, or maybe there's a really cool program that we can interact with in large groups, but it's not independent yet. It's me guiding them through things, and I'm always watching their lips, and I'm watching their hands, and I'm calling on individual students to spot check and things like that, asking for kids to do that stuff. So after we talk about the new concept and we practice it as a whole group, I will connect it to a different song. And it's important to note during this section that I'm also asking for some information back from them to check their understanding as much as I can. And you can use the chat function or things like Flipgrid or Jamboard or all those other things like that. There's a ton out there now. It's really, really cool. So then once we're connected to another song, we move into the wrap-up portion of the live session, which is about 5 minutes long. So if you're good at doing math, we're at about 20-25 minutes here with our live session thing. And here we're singing that second song we connected to just for fun. It's important to keep the music fun when we're doing live stuff because that's what they're going to remember when we come back in person. Then I'm going to, after we sing that song for fun, I'm going to ask another question, a personal question. It could be related to the music or it could not be. Again, I'm just trying to build these connections. That's going to be the biggest struggle. I think, improving our academic understanding and our musical concept understanding is important, but it is not as important as it is to build a relationship with these kids. So that's why I put that there. So then after we sing another song and we do our fun stuff, then you know what? We are going to hop off and do some digital learning. So this is what I call learning chunk number 2. And by the way, you can rewatch this video to get more information, and I also have an ebook out where I explain this, and then I offer 9 weeks of lesson plans for the middle elementary grades, all spelled out for you in the same format with slides and links and videos and sheet music and notation and all kinds of stuff. So if you like that, I'll put it in the description below for you to check out. Check it out. So, learning chunk number 2. This is 10 minutes. They are independent. And this is where you send them off to practice that concept that you were just talking about. So if you were talking about rhythms, you might send them over to Rhythm Randomizer. Or you might send them over to some other app that has them practice rhythms. Or Chrome Music Lab for people who like to explore with that kind of thing. Really cool stuff. So, and then there's a lot of apps out there too that are beginning to get practicing music and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. So, for 10 minutes they practice on their own. There can be ways for you to get information back to kind of like hold them accountable a little bit, but I mean, if you make it fun and it's fairly easy to understand, then they can do that stuff. So after we do our learning chunk 2, we're going into listening mode. Listening/watching or whatever you want to call it. So this is usually about like 5 to 10 minutes. And in person, I always show kids videos or bring in instruments or show them something. I want to expand their awareness of what music is and what music's out there. So in online, this usually means through like YouTube videos, or if you have another format you can use to show videos of some kind, that would be great. You can even take videos of yourself playing different instruments and stuff like that. That'll work too. And I always ask them to do something while they watch it so they're not just like zoned out as they watch it. And I also ask them to respond to me somehow, whether you're in Google Classroom or Seesaw or whatever you're using. Respond to me with something about that video. Okay? And it's just, expanding knowledge. You can connect it to the concept you're learning. Not as important, but it's fairly easy to connect to concepts if you get a little creative. So then after that, you're mathematically like almost out of time. So I always have, and my school requires some sort of like accountability check. No, like assessment? No. Something where they give information back to me that I can respond to them back and that kind of thing. Response chunk, I call it. And I don't want it to take long for the kids, maybe like 3-5 minutes, something like that. And I'm going to ask them a question or ask them to do something related to the concept that we were focusing on for that lesson and respond back to me. It doesn't have to be hard. I don't want it to be hard. I don't want to make this harder for the kids. I want them to improve, but really I just want them to engage. And I think that's what we all want here at this point, is just kids to engage. So this would be things like silly ones, like if we're talking about quarter notes and quarter rests, pick like, if you could be a quarter note or a quarter rest, which one would you be and why? Or if we're talking about form or something like that, be like, listen to one of your favorite songs on the radio, and starting with the A section, starting with the big letter A, see if you can figure out the form of your song. Even if they don't get it right, they're still thinking critically, and so that's really what I want them to do. And then they can respond in Google Classroom, they can do a Google Form, they can do anything like that, all those kind of stuff. We stick with the Google. My school has G Suite, so we have access to all those things. And I think a lot of schools are going that way too. I hope that you found this helpful. I hope that it gave you a good place to start and maybe relieve some of your stress, or maybe some food for thought, or that kind of thing. This online learning stuff is crazy, I know, but we can get through it. It's just going to be this year, and then next year we might have it happen sometimes. We might have it happen sometimes in the future, but we will be better prepared for it in the future. So if you liked this video, make sure that you subscribe for more helpful information. I do some like silly short videos, and then I also do longer ones like this where I try to help you out with some helpful tips and things like that. So subscribe if you'd like, and until next time, keep on singing.